You see, I'm not done with you guys for today, because I have a bonus just for my lovely viewers who stuck to the end. Thank you so much. What is this bonus? Let's do something bizarre. Let's create an energy system for the sprinting. And let's make this energy system so sprinting, let's call it energy system. Energy system based on time. Of course, because I'm gonna be looping, I create a spawn function. So while wait, 0.1, do the energy system. Our first variable would be the max sprint time. So our energy system is based on time and not energy or some point. So this is how much time we have to sprint, 15 seconds. And this is our time left, which is automatically the max sprint time. If we are sprinting, then take away from our time. And our time left equals our time left minus 0.1. 0.1 because it happens every 0.1 seconds. Or we can also write minus equals 0.1, which is just the exact same thing. But of course, do not take away indefinitely. If our time left is greater than 0, then we take away. If not, if somehow it drops below 0, then time left equals 0. Perfect. But what if we're not sprinting? Well then, heal us. Add time to our time left by 0.1. Give us more time. But of course not indefinitely. If max sprint time is greater than time left. Actually, if time left is less than max sprint time, then add time. Perfect. And let's say our time drops to 0. Drops to or below 0. What do we do? What penalties did the player face? Well, first, we kick him out of sprinting by going sprint bracket false. Second, we stop them from activating sprinting. How do we stop them from activating sprinting? Pretty simple. We create a variable called sprint on cooldown and set that to false. And we go to our sprinting script. If we are sprinting, if sprint is on cooldown, then just do nothing. You are disabled, my dude. Perfect. So now we can set sprint on cooldown equals true. And the second that our time left is greater than 0, we allow us to sprint again. Perfect. I hope I didn't move too fast for you guys. I was just really excited to do this part. So just so I don't test for 5 minutes, let's set it to 3 seconds to make it more noticeable. Now I should have only 3 seconds of sprinting. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that is so cool. As you can see, I haven't let go of sprinting, but I'm normal speed now. It kicked me out of sprinting. But if I were to activate it again after 30 seconds, I have my full energy. But if I were to just spam it, I only have a fraction of my energy equal to my time. Pretty nice, pretty nice. But the bonuses do not stop there. I just love you guys way too much. The player isn't a psychic, so let's create a visual representation of their energy using bars. So I'm gonna create a frame, set it up a little to make it look like a bar. Perfect. Duplicate the frame, parent it to this, and just set its position to 0. So it's in the same position. I'm gonna move its size slightly so we can notice the difference. And this frame will be our background. And this frame will be our energy bar. And what color? You can set the energy bar color to anything. Okay, that is a beautiful color, but I really like blue, maybe a darker blue. And of course you can set the background to white, But if you want to follow the classic video game style, you can make it hollow by setting it to a gray, not pitch black, because that's terrifying. Like more of a lightish gray. Perfect. And I might want to make the energy bar just slightly darker. Brighter but darker at the same time. Oh, damn, is it hot in here? Or is it just this energy bar? Phew. The pickup lines I have you snuggle. I mean, okay, perfect. Then I set the energy bar size back to its real size. And now we could of course just tween the energy bar size using some complicated math. But you see, not only is it bedtime for me, but I also got you guys. I'm going to show you a cheat. There's something called aspect ratio constraint. UI aspect ratio constraint. And I am 100,000% sure I'm using this exactly the way they want us not to use it. But no, I'm kidding. But we're going to use it anyways. So what is it? Well, it makes the energy bar, the thing it's parented to, sounds like a good candy, energy bar. It makes its parent have the same aspect ratio, have the same width to height aspect ratio. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, you can figure out a path's aspect ratio by going its width divided by its height. And just to make it more easy to divide this, because I'm not that guy, I'll round out the numbers for both of them, make them equal. So right now its width to height ratio, forget the aspect ratio, is 20. So if we set this to 20, it will be a full bar. And if this bar is at 1, it just means its width to height aspect ratio is 1, which is just 20 divided by 400. So its x would simply just be 20. So how can we use this to our advantage? Well, by simply changing this number around, we can change its size. It's pretty easy. What happens when we go over 20? Well, it physically doesn't allow us, but if we go too high, we create some adverse effects we don't want. So let's not do that. And one more thing, it also won't allow us to go to 0. Does that mean the lowest we can go is 1 and we get this not so pretty effect? Not exactly. If you set it to 0.0000000, okay, you don't need that many zeros, you need like maybe 5. Honestly, maybe 2. If you set it to a very, very low number, it automatically, and I quote, sets it to 0. But we physically cannot set it to 0, so yeah. Now call this energy. Now let's go ahead and get our energy and have some fun. Wink, wink. So try and keep everything organized here. Local energy. To recall, by setting its aspect ratio anywhere from 0.001 to 20, we have a full range. But does that mean we just set the energy's bar aspect ratio to whatever the time is left? Oh, not exactly, because the time varies depending on the max sprint time. So how about we create a percentage of the time left compared to our max sprint time, and then multiply that by 20. So now if we have 3 seconds as max sprint time, the time left is 1.5. 1.5 divided by 3, 0.50. 0.50 times 20, also half, 10. Perfect. Let's create another variable called aspect ratio, which is just going to allow us to do this. Now, why create the variable? Well, recall this formula, we're not allowed to go below, we're not allowed to go to 0, but this formula makes it possible to go to 0. So if the time left is 0, then 0 divided by max sprint time, 0 times 20, also 0. So if our aspect ratio is 0, less than or equal to 0, don't give us a weird error. Instead, just set the aspect ratio to something very, 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 very tiny. Okay, I'm kidding. Maybe not that tiny. Just a little bit. Something I'm confused is why is there a map that huge, but not a map that tiny? I guess you could technically just go 1 divided by map that huge. Dun 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 dun. Roblox is kind of cool. Okay, so now we've set it to that. Let's go ahead and test and see what we get. Before I show you guys, well, I guess I am gonna show you guys. The reason why I kept the loop outside of the ability is, let's say we go out and deactivate the ability. It's still regenerating energy. So let's test how it looks. Okay, I got to admit, oh my god, how is it breaking? If you guys would notice, there's a little glitch. Our speedline visual effects is just, it's gone, it doesn't exist. Now why is that? If sprint on cooldown, then return and sprinting. It's just gone. Oh my god, we forgot to set it back to normal. So now it has a 0.1 second, it should be 0.3. Okay, now ignoring that little side hassle, back to testing our energy bar. It's very tasty. How does it taste? But I mean testing, obviously. Testing the energy bar, not testing the energy bar. Okay, so it's looking a little bit choppy. But don't worry, boys. Tweens got you. So how do we fix this? Like I said, we simply just tween its aspect ratio. So fenmod.tween, which I'm absolutely sure we've used up to 6 times now. So we tween its aspect ratio. Well, we tween the energy bar aspect ratio to equal aspect ratio. I promise you this is completely legal for Roblox. It's the same thing as this. And then just because of its 0.1 second, we'll do 0.1 and we can delete it. Let's go ahead and test this. And that's the end of the video. As we approach the end, I would like to give a big round of applause for you guys for being, I'm kidding, we're not done. You twice in a row, you really fell for it. I can see you already hovering. No, I'm kidding. Okay, I sprint and it's smoother, but it's still a little bit not that good. It feels like it's starting, stopping, starting, stopping, which is exactly what is happening. So I feel like if I increase this by even a fractal of a second, instead of starting, stopping, starting, stopping, it will start, then get interrupted, and I quote, midway, and continue to look like a one fluid string. Let's test this. Ooh, that is beautiful. Wow. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for sticking true to the end, and I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial and maybe learned something new and even maybe got inspired. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.